Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be solving problem 1662. Check if two string arrays are equivalent. And now with this is an easy problem as given, provided by Leetcode. And the description is basically talking about giving two string arrays. One is word 1 and the second one is word 2. Return true. Sorry, let me bring my pen here. Return true if the two arrays represent the same string. So basically, and false otherwise, of course. Sorry. So let's take a quick look at the example. In word 1, we have A, B, and then C. So in index 1, we have A, B, index 2, or I guess in Python, that's how it would interpret it as, but in programming, this would be index 0 and this would be index 1. Nevertheless, looking at word 2, and you see, although the letters are placed differently, but they're in the correct order. A is followed by B, then followed by C. And the same thing here is done in word 1. And basically, we are told to find a way that combining the two letters, the arrays, and resulting in a string, this should equal to word 2. And if they don't, we return false. And if it's not the case, we would return true. And here's an example of a false scenario. We have word 1, and index 0 is A, and index 1 is CB. Now we're going to word 2, and we have here AB, and then C. And you can see right here, the order of the letters are off, which makes the strings both are not the same. This will be ACB as word 1, and then word 2, it's going to be A, B, C. And those two do not equal each other. And that should return false right away. So giving a description and giving us the objective of this problem, let's go to the whiteboard and discuss even more further. All right, so given that we have two inputs, word 1, excuse me, I'm taking a bit longer than I should to write this out, and we have word 2, our objective is to basically turn this into a string, which is equal to, in this case, A, B, C. And the same thing here. Turn this to A, B, C. And then we're going to compare these two. And if they are equal to one another, we return true. If they don't equal each other, we will return false. And if you've been following along, you probably could, at this point, try to code it up. But let's dive more into the way of how we would approach this even further. So in reality, we would be doing everything here in parallel until we get to the last point here. And we're doing this in one big step. And let's jump into Leetcode and write this up a bit more. And I think the code here would perhaps make a little bit more sense. I apologize if I confused you, but once you look at the code, I'm sure it'll make more sense to you. All right, and we're here at the back of Leetcode, and we're going to code up our solution. And before we implement the logic that we discussed at the whiteboard, I would like to input just a quick if statement check, checking if the inputs are empty. So if word 1 and word 2 is none, return false. Now let's begin with our code. So let's create our empty string variables here. So complete word 1 is equal to nothing at the moment. Initialize it to nothing. And complete word 2 is also equal to none. So let's begin our first for loop for the string of complete for word 1. So for each character in word 1, I would like to add a single character in each index at that array. So we would like to add that into the string, and that would result into an overall string of what that words are without any commas or any separations as mentioned here in the examples. So here, this is how it looks like. Oh, we gotta forget that, and then we would like to, and then we like to add a for loop for the character in word 2, and that would be the same thing. So in reality, the the logic of this is being done. Here it's going. First we're gonna run through this loop, and then run into that loop. In a way, it's a parallel procedure. And I'm going to talk to that in a minute about why the result to that, why it's occurring at this point. And then once we have created made the strings based on the input of the arrays, I would like to check if complete word 1 equal to complete word 2. I would like to return true, because that tells us that both strings are equal. Both input strings and the arrays add up to the same string, which are equal to each other, and that will return true. Else, if that's not the case, we would like to return false. And let's go ahead and run this. Wonderful. So we have passed every single local test case, and let's submit this. And as you can see here, the solution seems to be beating about 72.65% of the users in Python 3, but that number is not very accurate in my opinion. Leetcode tends to have a interesting way of calculating the percentage of how much you beat. But yeah, going back to this code, when you look at this, the reason why it's not the best or the most optimal solution, because the time complexity here is a big O of n, or in reality, it's actually big O of n plus m, because we have two independent for loops looping. But at the end of the day, that comes down to really a big O of n. Now, space complexity is also big O of n, but since we have two strings here and we're manipulating two data structures, it would also come down to big O of n. Now, this is not like the worst case scenario, nor the best case scenario specifically in its space complexity, but I believe this is like the best solution that I could come up with at the time, and I hope you understood it, and I hope I didn't confuse you anymore. I hope if you enjoyed this video, I hope if you just leave a like, a comment, and I would hope more than happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you, and have a good night, good day, whatever you're